Picture the year 1219. The largest land empire the world has ever seen is on the move. Over 100,000 horsemen led by a man who has never lost a war. Now drop into the middle of it something history was never supposed to allow: a modern mechanized brigade. Tanks, attack helicopters, drones, artillery that kills from 20 miles away. No way home, no factories, no resupply. Just the men, the machines, and the ammunition they carried in. The most advanced killing technology ever built, against the most successful conqueror who ever lived. Everyone assumes the modern army wins. Let's find out if that's true. First, the rules. Our force is one brigade, a few thousand soldiers, 100 armored vehicles, a squadron of helicopters, drones, and about 30 days of fuel and ammunition. Remember that last part. It decides everything. They appear on the open steppe at the height of Genghis Khan's power. Against them, not a mob, but a professional army of mounted archers who ride 100 miles a day and live off the land forever. They don't need supply lines. They are the supply line. And at the center of it is a commander whose entire genius was one thing. He adapted to everything. The first fight isn't a battle. It's a massacre. The Mongols do what's worked for 20 years. They mass and they charge. And they ride straight into the 21st century. Machine guns open up. Artillery walks across their ranks. Helicopters rake the flanks. In minutes, thousands of the finest cavalry in history are dead, and they never got within bowshot. If the war ended here, it wouldn't be a war. It'd be a math problem. But here's what the people betting on the modern army don't want to hear. Genghis Khan is watching, and he has never seen anything he couldn't learn. So he stops charging. Overnight, the horde does what no medieval enemy is supposed to do. It disappears. It scatters into an ocean of grass the size of a continent. No roads, no cities, no target to destroy. The modern army holds the most powerful weapons on Earth, and suddenly nothing to point them at. And every hour it searches, it burns the one thing it can't replace: fuel. Every drone, every mile, every round is a number that only goes down. The Mongols have no such number. They have grass, horses, and time, the three things the modern army is now running out of. Now Genghis fights the war he wants. Not battles, attrition. His riders hit a fuel depot at dawn and vanish before the rotors spin up. They pick off scouts. They foul the water. They feign retreat, drawing armor deep into the steppe until it runs dry and stops. And a tank with no fuel and no spare parts is just a very expensive rock. The brigade is a finite, irreplaceable thing, bleeding a little every day. The horde is a self-refilling sea. And Genghis has done exactly this before, to the Persians, to the Chinese, to every enemy who was bigger and better equipped than he was. Beating superior technology wasn't new to him. It was his whole career. So it comes down to one question: speed. The modern army has one path to victory, and it's short. Find Genghis, kill Genghis, break the command before the fuel gauge hits empty. With drones overhead and precision that ends a man from the horizon, that's possible, if they get one clean shot. But Genghis built the most sophisticated communication network of the medieval world. He's never where you expect. He's shielded by 100,000 men whose entire lives are mobility and deception. The modern army has to win in 30 days. Genghis only has to survive them. So, who wins? End it fast, decapitate the empire in a lightning strike, and it's over in a week. But if Genghis does what Genghis always did, refuse the battle you want, stretch you out, wait for your machines to fall silent one by one, then the most advanced army in history becomes a few thousand exhausted men, out of bullets, out of fuel, standing in an ocean of grass, surrounded by an enemy that was never trying to fight them in the first place. the unstoppable weapon, or the uncatchable empire? I've shown you both sides. Now you decide. Drop your verdict in the comments and tell me who really walks off that step. If you want to see this run against a different impossible enemy, subscribe. The next Crossroads is already loading. Because history only had to turn once, we get to ask, what if it didn't?